built in Taiwan instead of building here. It would have been better if he built here. If we had a president that knew what they were doing, and we had a lot of them very bad on trade.
Close of the day, the markets were down as such. The Dow was down 1.48%. The S&P 500 was down 1.76%.
Let me solve this economic puzzle for you. How does calling America a laughing stock and implementing massive tariffs on our closest allies actually make things worse for average Americans? The answer is playing out in real time as markets crash and economists sound the alarm. Today, I'm exposing the bizarre logic behind Trump's latest economic disaster. His solution to imaginary problems created very real ones, including potentially adding $1,245 to your household expenses this year alone. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Ever wonder why Trump keeps saying America is a laughing stock on trade when we're literally the world's largest economy? It's like claiming the captain of the football team is getting bullied by the chess club. Let's solve this mystery that makes about as much sense as putting ketchup on ice cream. During his press conference, Trump pulled out his greatest hits album and played that familiar tune about America being a laughingstock for years on trade.
The United States has been taken advantage of for 40 years. The United States has been a laughingstock for years and years.
You know, the one where other countries are supposedly pointing and giggling at us like we're wearing our economic pants backward. But here's the thing. He made this claim while standing right next to executives from TSMC, a Taiwanese company that's building a massive semiconductor factory in America. Talk about awkward timing. It's like complaining nobody likes you while your friends are literally throwing you a surprise party. Let's look at some inconvenient facts that punch holes in Trump's sad America story. The United States has the world's largest economy at about $27 trillion. We're not exactly the 98-pound weakling getting sand kicked in our face at Economic Beach. America is also the world's second largest exporter and the top importer globally. We're basically the Walmart shopper of nations. We buy so much stuff that other countries literally build their entire economies around selling things to us.
Then Donald Trump posted on his social media platform, tariffs will be fun. He told the farmers, have fun based on all of the greatness.
What about our trade deficit? Trump loves to point at it like it's proof we're getting scammed. But economists broadly agree that trade deficits aren't necessarily bad. They often reflect a strong economy where consumers have money to spend. Plus, the US has massive trade surpluses in services that offset some of the goods deficit. Our economy is so powerful that when we sneeze, global markets catch pneumonia, which we'll see in just a minute. And Trump's whole America as the victim narrative is a classic case of political fiction writing. He's created a problem that doesn't exist so he can swoop in with his tariff cape to save us all.
Crashed the stock market based on what he was saying. Donald Trump threatened Canada and Mexico, said tariffs will indeed take place tomorrow.
It's like setting your own house on fire so you can be the hero who calls the fire department. And what's extra bizarre is he's proposing the same solution that didn't work the first time. His previous tariff adventure led to retaliatory tariffs, damaged American agriculture, and cost consumers billions. But hey, why let facts get in the way of a good campaign story? Economists and business leaders have been contradicting Trump's narrative faster than he can post on Truth Social. JP Morgan analysts warned that his tariff plan could add $2,400 in extra costs for the average household annually. The US Chamber of Commerce, hardly a bastion of liberal thinking, called the tariffs economically destructive. Even Trump's former economic advisor Larry Kudlow said the tariffs would raise prices for Americans. That's like your own mom saying your cooking is terrible. The strangest part of all this is that absolutely nobody was asking for these tariffs. No major industry group, no significant economic organization, no coalition of workers. It's a solution in desperate search of a problem, like bringing a flamethrower to kill a fly. But Trump uses this fictional crisis to justify these extreme measures, and his supporters eat it up like it's the last slice of pizza. You can already see how this economic fairy tale is about to backfire spectacularly. Markets started tanking while Trump was still speaking. We'll get to those gory details in a minute, but it's worth noting that investors, who generally love Republican presidents, immediately started panic selling. They weren't buying what Trump was selling, and neither should you. The truth is that America's position as the world's largest largest economy and a trade powerhouse completely contradicts Trump's laughingstock narrative. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. American companies dominate global industries from tech to entertainment. Foreign investment floods into our country because it's seen as stable and profitable. Countries aren't laughing at us. They're desperately trying to figure out how to be more like us economically. While Trump was busy flexing his economic muscles with tariff threats, Wall Street was having a full-blown panic attack right in front of him. The markets didn't just dip, they nosedived as investors frantically smashed their sell buttons.
Close of the day, the markets were down as such. The Dow was down 1.48%, the S&P 500 was down 1.76%.
What happens when the self-proclaimed king of the economy speaks and money literally vanishes in real time? We got to witness that exact scenario during Trump's 45-minute press conference. You could actually see the financial bloodbath happening in real time, as Trump confidently declared his tariffs would definitely happen tomorrow. The stock ticker crawling across the bottom of Fox News broadcast started diving faster than an Olympic swimmer. It was like watching someone set fire to a pile of money while bragging about their fire safety skills.
Watch this also over here. You can literally watch the stock market tank in the bottom corner of Fox's broadcast.
The market reaction wasn't just bad, it was catastrophic. The S&P 500 plunged by 1.8%, wiping out nearly 105 points by closing time. The Nasdaq got hit even harder, tumbling a whopping 2.6% and losing almost 500 points. Even our neighbors to the north weren't safe. The Toronto Stock Exchange crashed nearly 392 points during Trump's tariff tantrum. Financial experts watching this disaster unfold were practically choking on their coffee. What made it worse was Trump's insistence that these tariffs would take effect immediately.
Built in Taiwan instead of building here. Would have been better if he built here. If we had a president that knew what they were doing, and we had a lot of them very bad on trade.
No negotiations, no phase-in period, just economic chaos right out of the gate. It's like announcing you're going to demolish someone's house tomorrow morning without giving them time to pack their stuff. The funniest part? Trump had recently been bragging about creating a crypto reserve, positioning himself as some kind of digital finance guru. Yet during his tariff announcement, even the crypto markets took a nosedive. Companies like MicroStrategy and Coinbase watched their values shrink faster than Trump's approval ratings in a fact-checking contest. You know something's seriously wrong when investors are frantically selling their assets while the president is still talking. It's the financial equivalent of people running out of the theater before the movie ends because the building's on fire. In just 45 minutes of presidential rambling, the American economy hemorrhaged over $1.5 trillion in market value. That's not a typo, that's trillion with a T. To put that in perspective, Trump's 45-minute speech cost Americans more wealth than some entire countries produce in a year. It might be the most expensive presidential speech in modern history. Each minute of his tariff talk erased about $33 billion in market value. At that rate, he could bankrupt Fort Knox by lunchtime. The market panic reveals something crucial. These weren't just nervous investors overreacting. These were financial professionals with billions at stake making a clear statement. Trump's tariff plan is economic poison. Timothy Fiore, who chairs the Institute for Supply Management's Manufacturing Business Survey Committee, didn't mince words. He warned that these tariffs would create operational shocks for American companies, disrupting both production and demand. What's particularly remarkable about this market nosedive is how universal it was. This wasn't just one sector taking a hit. This was a synchronized swan dive across the entire economy. When markets react this badly this quickly, it's like the financial equivalent of your smoke detector, carbon monoxide alarm, and security system all going off simultaneously. It's not a warning, it's a 5-alarm financial fire. That 5-alarm financial fire Trump ignited? Turns out we're all stuck paying for the fire department.
As the market is tanking, Fox then reports White House will suspend or may suspend or cancel all Ukraine aid.
While the Orange Menace gleefully posted "Have fun" about his tariffs, Americans are about to discover the party's $1,245 cover charge coming directly from their wallets this year alone. Trump keeps insisting Americans might feel some pain from his tariff tantrum, but claims it'll be worth it in the end. Kind of like how getting punched in the face is worth it, because eventually the punching stops. The reality is much worse than some pain. Economic analyses show the average American family family is about to lose $1,245 this year if these tariffs continue. That's not a minor inconvenience. That's a month of groceries, a car repair, or several electricity bills vanishing from your bank account. Here's the part Trump conveniently forgets to mention when he's bragging about punishing other countries.
All of these things happened, and it's a shame, but it is what it is, and now we're here. I want to see it end fast.
Tariffs aren't paid by China or Mexico or Canada. They're paid by you. When that shipment of goods arrives at an American port, it's American importers who pay the tariff tax, and guess what happens next? They pass those costs directly to American consumers faster than Trump passes gas after a bucket of KFC. Think of tariffs like this. Trump stands at the border, slaps a 20% tax on stuff coming in. Then American businesses have to pay that tax before selling you the products. Did China pay anything? Nope. Did Mexico feel the pain? Not really. The only wallet getting lighter belongs to the American consumer. That's you, by the way.
We are setting records right now. Records like nobody has ever seen before. When you have companies like this coming in,
the economic destruction isn't just hitting individual bank accounts. The U.S. Conference of Mayors recently passed an emergency resolution warning of severe economic harm to American cities. These aren't just coastal elite mayors with avocado toast addictions. These are leaders from red states, blue states, and everything in between sounding the alarm because they can see the train wreck coming. And some industries are about to get absolutely demolished. Auto manufacturing is looking at parts shortages and price hikes that will make your next car purchase feel like buying a small house. Agriculture, you know, the backbone of those rural areas that strongly supported Trump, is bracing for retaliatory tariffs that will crush American farmers. Retail stores are panic ordering inventory before prices skyrocket. Energy sectors are calculating how much more Americans will pay to heat and cool their homes. Meanwhile, Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick went on TV with his best tough guy impression, declaring, "If they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want." Easy for him to say when he's not the one playing this expensive game with his own money. While markets were literally crashing behind him on the TV monitors, Lutnick was flexing like a schoolyard bully who doesn't realize he just punched his own friend. So who actually benefits from this economic self-sabotage? If experts are warning against it, if mayors from both parties are terrified, if markets are tanking, and if your wallet is getting thinner, who's walking away smiling? I'll give you a hint. It's not the average American worker Trump claims to be fighting for. The full cost of Trump's tariff tantrum is staggering. According to Yale's Budget Lab, Americans will pay more than $1.4 trillion over the next decade if these policies continue. That's trillion with a T. Remember when Trump promised never to raise taxes on the American people? Well, tariffs are taxes, just sneakier ones that he hopes you won't notice as they silently drain money from your bank account. To put that $1.4 trillion in perspective, it's roughly the cost of building 140 brand new aircraft carriers or funding the entire Department of Education for 2 decades. It's enough money to give every American about $4,000, ironically close to what these tariffs will ultimately take from each household.
NASDAQ was down 2.64%. You can literally see the market crashing as Donald Trump is speaking at this press conference.
So here's the final punchline to this expensive economic joke. The same guy who promised soaring markets just tanked them with one press conference. Larry Summers called Trump's tariff circus a self-inflicted wound to the American economy. A pretty fancy way of saying Trump just punched himself in the wallet and then asked America to pay his medical bills. The orange genius even admitted Americans might feel some pain from his brilliant plan, right after promising to reduce inflation. That's like saying, "I'll help you lose weight," while force-feeding you cake. Then the markets dropped 650 points, proving that investors don't share Trump's definition of making America great again. When politicians invent fake problems just so they can sell you expensive solutions, your wallet is the one that ends up with the real problem. Thanks for the economics lesson, President Bankruptcy.